was really like figuring out who I was as a performer, what I wanted to perform.
Yeah.
I like to wear like a slaggy little outfit and get
Don't we
oat
all?
milk poured all over me.
That's my Friday night.
Yeah.
How did you
And
know?
I
I
loved
honestly
it.
wish I f***ing had like friends like you when I was younger. Like
The
I'd never
stuff in
seen
charity
people that
shops.
dressed like you or dressed out there ever until I moved to like London, and then I was like, oh my god, like you can actually just wear this stuff and no one cares.
Really
I think
amazing.
more men should go.
Yeah.
Because my ex-boyfriend, he went to one with his friend, and he said that they were the only two guys there, and so I think he was a bit nervous that they were going to think, oh my god, they're the only here to like look at asses.
I'm sure they were.
Hi, I'm Lottie Moss, and welcome to Dream on Pod. And today we have a very tea guest on. Welcome, Bimini.
All right, babe.
I'm so excited to have you on. We've been meaning to have you on for a while. I'm not gonna lie.
I've been a bit shit. I've been thinking now and then, but we're here now.
But
I'm in
I
bed
feel like
with
every podcast has someone that they always try and get on, and you're that for me.
Well, I'm so excited
I've
to
been
be
gagging to have you on, quite literally.
here. Let's do it.
So what have you been up to? Anything with Fashion Week?
Fashion
anything
Week was
fun?
a bit of a crazy one. It was a lot of fun. I like to like pitch myself in a hotel during Fashion Week and just try and get it. But this time I was really reserved. I was in bed by 1 every night.
Really?
Yeah, which that I haven't before.
That's
Sometimes I've not gone to bed.
unheard of in Fashion Week,
Exactly.
isn't it? Really?
But it was good. I went to some shows, walked to some shows.
Did you? What shows did you walk
I
in?
walked in Harry.
Oh.
Which is a latex designer. It's really cool pieces. It's like inflatable latex.
Do you like walking? Because I find it really nerve-wracking.
I like walking. I don't find it nerve-wracking because I feel like I just like remember to go left, right, left, right, left, right. But that was quite nerve-wracking because the dress I was wearing was latex, which is quite hard anyway, and it was all the way down to my ankle. So
you couldn't even walk.
Couldn't
not
really
moving,
walk.
yeah.
So when
especially
I did
if
post
you've got
the video,
bad shoes as well, and then you're like trying to think not to trip.
They were good. It was fun, but it was a fun one to walk in. I feel like he's like a really cool up-and-coming designer. He did the design for Sam Smith like last year at the Brits.
Oh, yeah, I remember that dress. Yeah.
So like it was cool to do.
That's amazing. Did you do Paris, Milan, York?
I didn't do it this season. No, I just did London this season. I've been quite busy doing lots of other stuff. Like I feel like
Tell me, please.
Millions of things. I've basically been working on a shit ton of music, which I'm really excited about because I've been doing for like 4 years.
Yeah.
And I've been stopping and starting, dropping and dripping, but I'm coming back now, and I feel like I've like rehoned the music, and it's clubby, it's sexy. It's
I love it
fun.
because I feel like we're in this era right now of like proper like pop girls coming
The
back.
pop girlies
Do
are
you know what I
here.
mean? We've got the Addison Rae, Charlie, we've got Troy. It's just all
Chappelle
coming back.
Rowan.
Oh, I love that. But you know what? She gets so much hate at the moment. I'm like, can we not cancel her? Because I fucking love her.
Also, like, fucking kudos to her for like setting self boundaries. You know,
No,
She
that's
kind
what I
of-
think. People are so shocked when celebrities are like, "Do you mind not harassing me?" Or like
It's
not
like,
coming
oh,
up
you're
to
so ungrateful.
Yeah, fuck you. I hate you now.
Like, let someone lick your face.
Yeah, when I see you on the tube next time,
Yeah.
you better be careful.
But no, the pop girlies are doing it. But like, it's really exciting to kind of be coming back with my music, and it's like a lot more like kind of the club world that I came up in.
Do you feel
and, like,
more
the
confident
underground.
now than you used to with music?
I think so, for sure. And I think like I was very experimental at times. I love making music and I love the process. And I think like the writing, the recording, it's always a lot of fun. And I think I didn't always have those opportunities, and I didn't think I was going to get them. And the fact that they were there, I've like took them running. But I think over the years, there's been like people telling me I should go a certain way. But I'm like, this year was all about just like getting back to being a bad bitch and doing what I want to do, you know? So I feel like I've like taken back control of that.
I love that. So let's go into your early life and background, because I want to know everything about my guests, you know. I also like to like talk about like background and stuff like that, because I feel like we really gauge a person and like how they've become the person they've become. Because I love talking. The reason I got a podcast is because I love talking to people and like knowing things about people. So you grew up in a small town. What was that like?
I did. It was shit. No,
Whereabouts did you grow up?
So I grew up in Norfolk. I grew up in Great Yarmouth.
Yeah.
Which is really random because my dad's from Clapham and my mum's from Glasgow. So like growing up in like Norfolk was weird, and I had this like really weird accent as a kid that like until I went to school and everyone was like, "You sound like a weirdo." Like I sounded like this like Scottish Cockney thing, and it was like
because it was like both your parents.
Both my parents, yeah. And I just like had this weird like Scottish twang and sounded like Oliver Twist. So and then when I went to school and then kind of my accent kind of subdued, but yeah, I grew up in Norfolk. It was a weird
What's
place
Norfolk
to grow
like? Is it like countryside-y vibes?
It is countryside. Yarmouth isn't, because it's a seaside town, but Norfolk's got some gorgeous places, but I always call it the arse end of nowhere, because if you look at like the map of England, it's the little bump at the sides that sticks out.
The little bum.
Yeah, it's like the little arse at the side. So I'm like, yeah, it's the Batty of England.
The Batty of the rear of
The
England.
rear of England.
Did you fit in as a teenager, like when you were growing up and stuff like that, or did you find it hard living in such a small town and like fitting in and stuff?
Do you know what? I think I always had this like innate sense of showing off.
Yeah.
So I think I made myself fit in. You know?
Really?
Yeah, in school, like I wasn't like the lads. Like I wasn't like that. Me
One
and
of the
girls-
boys.
I wasn't one of the boys. I was definitely with the girls, but I was like kind of with the popular girls, and we were all like friends, and like they'd obviously the boys would hang out. So I think like just by proxy, I got away with a lot more.
Yeah.
But I think also looking back, like teenagers were horrible to each other.
Horrible, don't you think?
Horrible.
When I was 13, I was like the nastiest person in the world. I truly don't know how my parents didn't disown me and like divorce me, because I was horrible.
It's mad. And I remember when my friends, I'd say, found out like my parents were Scottish, the amount of haggis jokes that I would get.
Give me a rest.
And they'd even like say some Irish jokes, and I'm like, it's a different place. Like, that's just what it was like.
You ate yourself up in that, do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like when I was younger, everyone just wanted to fit in. I was so scared to be different. I was terrified. So I just like, honestly, kudos to you for actually being like different.
Well, in school, I think I was like wearing the Mackenzie tracksuits and everything.
Yeah.
But then I think when I was about 15, like I'm not gonna lie, like I remember like started smoking cigarettes at that
yeah.
age. Would like buy like would sell. Don't know if I could say her name, but she used to sell 3 for £1, like three
We
for
can
£1
bleep her out.
at lunchtime. So I used to buy 3 for £1 with my dinner money and Diet Cokes.
Love.
And like me and the galleys would smoke cigarettes, and I think like we started experimenting with fashion and reading like magazines. I remember first getting Dazed and Confused and being like, there
Yeah.
are weirdos like me that want to be there, but I wasn't there yet. So I started experimenting. I remember seeing a guy called Jake Gallagher, who's now like a really super successful hairstylist for like massive people in LA.
Wow.
And they were from the same place as I was. And I remember they were like my queer awakening. I remember seeing them outside the Hollywood cinema, and they were like head to toe in this leopard print look. And I just thought they were the most incredible thing that I'd ever seen, because I hadn't seen that in person. I'd seen it in magazines.
Oh yeah.
But then me and my friends started dressing like weirdos. Like we used to like go to charity shops and buy like moth-eaten fur coats for like £3.
I
while all
love
the other
it.
galleys were like buying River Island stuff, which was fab. But like we would like spend like, oh, we've just spent £5 on a brand new outfit, and it's like ripped fishnets and a
Do you know
fur
what?
coat. And I loved
honestly
it.
wish I fucking had like friends like you when I was younger. Like
The
I'd never
stuff in
seen
charity
people that
shops.
dressed like you or dressed like anyone that looked, do you know what I mean, that dressed out there ever until I moved to like London. And then I was like, oh my God, like you can actually just wear this stuff and no one cares and no one
We
will say
started
anything.
rebelling because I think I started discovering like subculture.
Yeah.
Subculture was a huge thing for me when I was a teenager, and like me and my friends we started reveling in that, you know,
Yeah.
and like we enjoyed being a bit of a weirdo, and like we would be called the wasters because we'd like be smoking and drinking,
Yeah.
but like having a good time. It was very like Skins era.
There's nothing like it.
Yeah, exactly.
Sitting in a field, drinking like WKD,
Yeah.
getting wasted.
And it was we were started experimenting with fashion then, and I think I remember like walking down the road and people would like shout stuff out the cars, and we'd be in our like ripped fishnets and fur coats, and we'd just be like, yeah, whatever, and like put our fingers up to them. Like we were like a bit rebellious, but I think it was like I knew I wanted more and I wanted to explore more, and I think London definitely brought that out in me, because I think my mum would always say, like from a young age, I'd say, I'm going to be in London, I'm going to move to London, or like move there, because that was where like my grandparents are from, like
Yeah.
that was like they were like dancers in the West End, and she was my nan. But like I remember I wanted to go there, but like in that age, that transition of like school to college,
Mhm.
sixth form college, was when we really started like playing around with it. But I
Yeah.
remember like it's so crazy to think now, like I got a pair of UGG boots, which got the shit cut, like not beaten at me. I didn't get the shit beaten at me, but people would say so much shit because I was wearing a pair of UGG boots, because they would like, it's the most crazy, outrageous thing ever. And I'm like, yeah, like because I was like a male body in Uggs, you know, like, you know, Uggs were for like the galleys. I had a pair of Uggs, and at the time I called them mugs. My stepdad was like, they're men's UGG boots. It's just an Ugg. It's just an
funny,
UGG.
yeah.
It's just literally an UGG. But I remember wearing that, and that was outrageous. So that was kind of where I came from.
Oh, I love that.
An UGG boot was outrageous.
How did you find moving to London? Because I feel like it's different for everyone. Like, obviously, like, it is very different when you come from a small town to come into, like, such a big place and, like, kind of finding your feet and kind of finding the people that you relate with. How did you find that?
I loved it, and I think I never looked back. And I think when I started going back home, I'd like dress even more crazy and put on a show. You know, I'd like go back to my hometown and give them a show. But no, when I first moved to London, I went out every day for like 28 days, I think. Because I'd never seen anything like it. I was going to like gay bars. In my hometown, there wasn't a gay bar. There was a wine bar that was a bit fruity. But there wasn't many of them. So I think like coming to London and seeing like Queerness and a celebration of fashion as well, because I knew that's where it was. I was like, this is me. Like,
how old were you when you moved to London?
18. And I never looked back, and I feel like I've been here since. I feel like London is my home, you know?
Yes.
Like, even though I didn't grow up here, I've got family ties and stuff, but I think, London's definitely my home.
Yeah, it is hard finding people here.
I also feel like I always want to see, and still to this day, I always want to see the good in people. Yeah. And I feel like even if they do, like, fuck you over or whatever, like, it's a shame. But I don't know if it's, like, ADHD or whatever, but I've still always got that trusting heart.
I'm the same. I have ADHD as well.
Yeah.
How do you cope with your ADHD?
Mushrooms.
Mushroom mood,
yeah,
honestly.
literally.
It's so true.
Yeah, like, I've got so many different, like, mushroom regime going on at the minute. But I've been microdosing as well. Yeah, and it just feels like everything's a bit lighter, and I think like it makes me focus better. I also take like lion's mane, cordyceps. I'm a sucker for anything that's like, oh, it's gonna help me.
Yeah.
That exercise. I mean,
find out you ADHD.
I think it was quite known, but because in school I wasn't naughty. I wasn't that naughty. I was smart and naughty. Like we were smoking at break times. But like I wasn't like disrupting class, and I think a lot of the time the kids that had ADHD were like seen as the naughty ones, and it was seen as a thing. But I actually think it's a superpower.
Do you know what? And I agree with you with that. There's so many different like types of ADHD, and like how it presents in like women and men is different, and how we're like, and each person I think is so individual as well, because you're like everyone has like different mental health as well.
Also, there's people with ADHD. We need to be a lot more like softer on ourselves, because I think like I've been through over the years where I've like smashed it with the alcohol. I've like definitely abused in the past with like other substances, and I think that's a side effect of it, of having it, because it's like a way of like coping with like the craziness in your brain. Over the years, I'm like 31 now. I've definitely coped and then not coped and managed things better, but I know it's like wanky to say, but yoga is like the best thing. I was a yoga teacher in one of my lives when I was like in my early 20s, and I went to India, did it, and they took the piss out of hot yoga because India's just hot. So they were like, hot yoga isn't a thing here because it's just what it's like. So I found that quite funny.
How did that even come about? That's crazy. Like studied yoga.
Yeah, I went and did yoga teacher training because I loved the practice, and I was partying a lot in London, and I wanted something to like. It's all or nothing mentality. I think that's something. It's all of that.
Studying yoga.
Yeah,
I'm living there.
And it's amazing. And it's the thing with yoga, I think, is it really is something that I have had for like 12 years in my life. I studied it. It's something that I can come back to. If I'm going through something difficult, I think yoga is always something to reconnect with. And like there are wanky parts of it, and that's just life, and that's just how like things is. And when I was actually when I was in India, I did notice a lot of manipulation, because I think a lot of people are vulnerable, so there is a lot of people that take advantage of people's vulnerability in those like more sacred spaces, which I disagreed with. And I would also I remember like saying to one of the teachers, I don't think this is right, and they were like, you're not ready, and I was like, whatever. And sadly in yoga over the years we've seen it with like Bikram as well, like there have been people that take advantage, and I think no matter what practice and in life there's always people that are going to take the piss.
So how do you cope with your ADHD?
So I have been doing a lot of mushroom
I love
practices.
mushrooms.
Yeah, and I think like I've got the ones that you can get off the shelf in Holland and Baz. I've got my cordyceps, I've got my lion's mane, I've got my reishi. There's another one, ashwagandha.
Ashwagandha is meant to be really, really good for your mental health as an ADHD person, yeah.
But then also I've been like microdosing psilocybin, which is something that has been I've done mushrooms over the years, like in macro doses. Yeah. But this is like a micro, like once every 2 days. And you don't feel an effect from it. And it's obviously like it's like a medicine that hasn't been out into the mainstream. But I think the effects that it's had on me has been astounding, you know?
Really?
Like, I feel calmer, I feel more focused.
Have you ever tried any other medications for ADHD? Because
Ketamine, no, not really. Not prescribed.
I didn't know that was...
No, I haven't, I haven't. Because I feel like sometimes, like my partner was on them.
Yeah.
And I don't think it was the best for him. He's off them now, and actually he's way better.
Do you know what? I found the same. I used to be on the medications like Ritalin and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Did not help me at all. Maybe worse. I honestly felt worse on it.
Well, I think when he came off them, it was quite a crazy thing to witness, like sweats and like this mood swings and everything. Yeah.
See, I didn't go on them for that long. Like, I went on them for I think like a few months, and then I was like, and the first 2 weeks, hell as well. The first 2 weeks, so honestly, obviously going on like any medication is like horrible, but this was took the cake. And but I've tried mushrooms, and I think I have a better experience than other people on mushrooms because of it.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I've got ADHD, and I'm like, it kind of just like, I'm like, yes.
I think there's something there. I think it's such an old, like, it's been around for so many years. It's been used in so many different, like, sacred traditions, and I think there's definitely some truth in the psilocybin. I think if it's not abused or you've done it in a situation, I've definitely felt the benefits from it. But yeah, like, I'm obviously laying here in this, like, head to toe latex number.
Obsessed with this number, by the way.
But it's yoga and mushrooms for me.
It's not giving mushrooms.
It's not giving yoga and mushrooms, but that's what you get.
That's what it is.
That's what you get. This is the
if
highest form of enlightenment.
If you do yoga and take mushrooms, this is what's going to happen to you.
You can do downward doggy in this as well.
Where do you go and do yoga then?
So I actually started doing yoga first in my early 20s, and I was doing a lot of partying in London, and I was hitting it very hard, and I needed to take a step back for like to even just get through uni and to just for my own mental health. So I loved yoga, and I thought I'll go over and do like a teacher training, because I felt like that would be a way to immerse yourself in it, because obviously I've got the all or nothing mentality, and it was incredible. There was like I learned so much from it, but what I did learn is to always question everything.
Yeah.
And I've always got that in me anyway. Like, I'll always be quite naturally curious. But I remember like questioning one of the practices for something, because I don't eat meat or drink or have dairy. So I remember like they were talking about like wanting to like give love and life to everything, but then it was like talking about eating stuff, and I said, oh, maybe like surely you can't eat animals if that's how you believe.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh no, you're not ready to understand. And I was a bit like, right, well, you're just shutting me down now, so it's like kind of I don't want to be part of this now. But I did also see a lot of people kind of be emotionally manipulated out there, which was sad to see, because I think everyone out there, especially me as well, when I was there, was seeking some sort of like healing journey and music.
I think as well,
everything
like, you
I
can
do.
take something out of these things. You don't have to like I've seen it with a lot of people, like where they go sober or something, and they just take it to such an extreme. And I'm like, do you know what? You can do it in a way that's good for you.
But that's what it's about. And I feel like I took a break from doing it and the practice, and I'm back in it again recently, and it's just been so good. You know? Also, you get the best ass from yoga.
You really do.
You do. Like a yoga
try
bum is like one of the best. I do love a Pilates. Yeah, I've done Pilates.
I want to start doing reformer, because all my friends that do it have the most incredible bodies.
They do. It's good. And I do love seeing it. Sometimes you see on like TikToks and stuff, like the videos of like the husbands going to a Pilates class and they're like dripping in sweat, because people see it as like a bit airy fairy, but it's not. I think yoga and Pilates are really amazing.
More men should go.
Yeah.
Because my ex-boyfriend, he went to one with his friend, and he said that they were the only two guys there, and then it was like really awkward, because he was like, oh god, I feel like the girls must think we're there because they're very obviously straight as well.
Yeah.
And so I think he was a bit nervous that they were going to think, oh my god, they're only here to like look at our asses.
I'm sure they were.
No, he probably was, to be honest.
But no, I think that just trying to control it as much as I can. I think like also as I've got older, I've understood that like life isn't linear, and how I'm feeling isn't linear, and I'm gonna go through ups and downs, and that's just life.
So Drag Race, of course, we have to bring it up. Yes. I mean, you're an icon on it. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, thank you.
That's where you kind of became you, isn't it? I guess.
Yeah, I mean, so I came up with the East London scene, which the drag in East London is just crazy. It's batshit crazy, which is what I'd always like been around. So when I went on Drag Race, at the time I didn't think I was going to be ready for it, because also like my drag is different in a sense of like I'm just me. I feel like I explore like my idea of what gender is and my own idea of gender in my head, and I think like I don't see what I do as necessarily like female illusion or it has to look like this. Like I'm not like padding, I'm not tucking, like everyone knows what I've got down there.
You're not wearing the boobs.
I'm not wearing boobs, it's just me and my little body. And I like the fashion side of it.
Baby, you don't need it. Do you know what I mean?
But no, I like the fashion side, and I think that was something that like, when I first started doing drag, I struggled to understand that I could explore fashion with it. And then I got into it and I was like, no, I love this. And I think like, it's definitely an extension of me. But I love the fact that I got to showcase myself on Drag Race. And I don't think like everyone's always been like happy with what I've decided to do after, because I didn't follow the traditional route, I guess, of like what you do after Drag Race. And I think like I had some amazing opportunities, and but like at the end of the day, I just want to do what I want to do.
How long have you been doing drag before you went on Drag Race?
3 years.
3 years, wow. So you were quite new to it as well.
Yeah, like not as long. And actually, I'd say 1.5 years, because for the first 1.5 years, I looked like shit.
But everyone does. I feel like when you first start drag, you're kind of finding you're finding who you are as well in your drag personality.
I actually would say like not everyone, because I feel like there's some queens that, and which is totally fine. They'd be like seen as a bedroom queen, where they would only do drag at home, and then a lot of them would go on Drag Race, which is amazing. But I'm glad I looked like a mess and was out like being a messy bitch.
Because I think that
you learn a lot.
This is the thing, but I think also if you haven't gone outside in drag and kind of like performed in person, it's probably so nerve-wracking to go in front of RuPaul, like questionably like the most iconic drag queen in the world, and be like, this is me. Do you know what I mean? Because you have to be confident in who you are to go on that show.
And it took me a while to get there, because the first 1.5 years, I was really like figuring out who I was as a performer, what I wanted to perform. Like I realised that I was like, I like to wear like a slaggy little outfit and get oat milk poured all over me. That's what I do. Like I remember
that's my Friday night.
Yeah.
How did you know?
I used to do it. I used to like. I remember the first time I did that performance at the Glory was they asked me to bring a paddling pool, because basically what the performance was in context is out of it. But I used to come out as dressed as a cow.
Yeah.
And I used to do this like lovely speech about how like cows get abused for their milk, and then I'd take off my clothes and dance around to MILF Money by Fergie.
That's very Peter of you.
Yeah, very Peter. And then I'd be like in a little like fake Louis Vuitton bikini and dance around to MILF Money, and then someone would come out and pour oat milk on me while I like twerked.
Oh my god, I can actually picture it. It's a vision. I can picture
it. Was great, and that's when my career started really kicking up, because I was getting booked to do it everywhere, and then I was like on the scene hustling. But for the first, I'd say 1.5 years, like I was really nervous.
Yeah.
And what I actually really understood, I learned a lot about performing. And if I'm not having fun on stage, no one else is going to be having fun.
No, it's so true.
And like if something fucks up, it's okay. You just got to make a joke of it.
But that's the thing. I think the funniest part is when it fucks up sometimes.
Absolutely,
It is hilarious, because it kind of bridges that gap between like the audience and your performer.
If something happens off the cuff, like you can't do it again, you can't make it up, like it kind of adds to it. So I really like honed into that.
Were you nervous going on Drag Race in terms of your drag, thinking like, is it going to be good enough? Are they going to be good? Or
well, yeah, I think the first episode, I was obviously in the bottom 2 in the first episode. So I was shitting myself, because I was like, fuck, I'm going to go home. But I lip synced in the first episode in 10-inch pleasers, like 10-inch shoes, thigh highs. No, I tucked, but I had no underwear on, and this high-rise Norwich City football kit. And I loved it. It looked great. But I was in the bottom 2 for it, and I was like...
But you also can't even change when you do it. So, like, you literally have to do it in the look that you've done before. So you're like, fuck. So if you have to lip sync for your life, it's like so crazy.
I'm like on the
if
BBC.
You're in a really unmovable outfit. Do you know what I mean?
On the BBC, I'm like, is everything going to fall out? Like, are people going to see what we've had, like the Mackies we've had for lunch? Like, it was quite nerve-wracking. But then after that, I was like, no, I know my style and my performance and my fashions and stuff, and like I'm gonna do my own thing.
It's kind of good being in the bottom 2 or something in the first one, because I feel like really kicks you into gear.
Up.
Yeah, the only way is up. But it also kicks you into gear.
Yeah.
And you're like, fuck, right, I really have to try. Because sometimes you go in and you're nervous and you're not doing it to your full extent, and then you kind of see like sometimes the queens will like actually be in like the top afterwards. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Because they've like really realised.
I think you could only go up, and I was like willing to work, and I believed in myself enough to get there, you know. So I did it, and like since the show has been amazing. Like I've got to travel the world. I've got to like do some amazing crazy shit. But I think like I'm now back to doing like I've got like lots of things happening, but I'm like releasing my music, which I'm so excited to be back in that space, because it's back to the clubland, which is where I came from. It's like I came up through the club scene in East London. Like I'm back making that music, and it's just banging. Like I used to DJ before Drag Race, not very well. I was literally like a like a crossfader disco DJ. But like now I'm back honing that, and like I've got a DJ tour in Australia. And I'm doing like a tour out there in November. Yeah, which I'm really excited for.
So fun.
Yeah, go down under. But like, there's a lot of opportunities, and I'm grabbing them, and I'm just having fun with it.
Yeah, and if people love it, the people
this
want
is
what they want. Do you know what I mean?
But it's exciting. I feel like there's a lot of good things happening. So,
do you have any drag inspirations?
So my drag inspirations, like obviously I love like a lot of the queens that have come before me, a lot of drag kings as well in East London. There's so many amazing drag kings. But my inspirations always came from like, I don't know, Pammy.
I see Pammy is the queen.
Like I was at an event with her recently.
I
and I didn't know.
died.
I knew she was there, but I didn't know she was two tables away from me. And then the awards started, and I was like, "Fuck! I've missed my opportunity to get a picture of Pammy."
Oh.
So like when she was on stage, I took a little selfie.
You're like, smile.
Yeah, but I love a misunderstood bad girl, you know.
Oh, do you know what? I'm so there for it.
Yeah.
I love those girls like growing up. Like that's what I watched.
A hot blonde that's
blonde
misunderstood.
with big tits.
Yeah, exactly.
So I became one.
But no, it's like there's misunderstanding of that, like this bimbo persona. I always lent into that.
Yeah.
Like you can still be like smart and have something to say, but also look good. But no, I love that, and I also love like huge respect for Pamela Anderson, what she's doing now, like going makeup free. As like one of the arguably biggest sex symbols of the 90s, to now like be embracing how she looks and aging the way she wants to.
She's so beautiful anyway.
Yeah. Oh, but that black smoky eye and that big blonde hair, you cannot beat that.
Back to Drag Race though, what was the audition process like? I'm intrigued to know.
The audition process, you have to send in a 10-minute video where they have different things. So it's like 3 minutes where you have to talk in and out of drag about yourself.
Yeah.
Then you have to do like an acting challenge. Then you have to do your Snatch Game character. And then a lip sync performance. I think that's it. I think there might be something else. Yeah. Oh, and fashion as well. Like you have to show certain looks, and you have to cram it all into a 10-minute video. And it's all like self-shot, and like I did it all myself. And it was the process of it was quite crazy. I want to look back at my video actually. I can't remember the last time I watched it.
Oh my god,
but
that would be so interesting to see.
The process is interesting, and then you upload it to like a Vimeo thing, and then yeah. I didn't expect to get a call. Because it was the first time I'd auditioned. So I sent it in, and then when I got the call, I was like, fuck, I don't think I'm ready. I also had a dream that I was going to be on season 3, so I'm really not psychic. But, like, I was obviously on season 2. So it was, it came out of nowhere, really. It was a play on, like, the eyes of the nipples of the face. Is it? Hang on, the eyes of the nipples of the face. It was like, you said it just silly and wrong, but it worked. I didn't think it was going to get that reaction. When it did, and like Rue was like pissing himself. But yeah, like again, when I did Katie Price for Snatch Game, like she was my Snatch Game character. It was like I wanted to pay homage to someone that I massively respect.
Was there any drama like behind the scenes? Like, what's the atmosphere like when you're on Drag Race? Because obviously we only see like certain parts of it, but like, and sometimes it can maybe seem a bit more hostile than maybe it is.
There is a bit of tension because it's quite it's a competition. Obviously, it's quite like a fast-paced environment. But to be honest, I wasn't really getting involved in any of the drama because I was like just trying to focus on getting by. And I have nothing but love and respect for everyone that was on the show. It was such a crazy time because also the show came out during lockdown when everyone was in lockdown. So I think that's why our season was kind of very beloved because it represented a time when people were looking for hope.
Yeah.
And we were talking about our struggles and talking about mental health issues and talking about what we've been through, and people related to it. And I think that's the beauty of the show, is being able to strip back the layers and allow people to connect. Because I think a lot of the time when, especially with conversations around queerness, there's always an agenda. And I think Drag Race doesn't have that agenda. It's just showcasing it. And people relate to it. I think most people want the best for other people when it comes down to it. But when there's like newspapers and like the right-wing media and other outlets, they push an agenda to try create hysteria amongst groups. That's when division is created. Yeah, Drag Race allowed people to open their eyes to something.
I feel like I'm in the girls' changing room. Do you know what I mean? When I watch Drag Race, I'm like, I feel like I'm in the changing room with them, and I'm like, oh my god, the gossip.
You're connecting with it, and I think that's it. The human experience people are seeing on a level that is just like, oh, their life experience is different to mine, but that's okay.
Yeah.
What pisses me off is when it's like media outlets or like some dickhead reporters are like, or people like, oh, your queerness is like everywhere, or you're trying to shove it down our throats. So I'm like, too right. Yeah. Yes, we are, because we just want the same as everyone else. You know?
So true.
Why should they not? Like, everything is like kind of heterosexuality. We grew up with that, you know? So just seeing two gays kissing on TV, it's not getting shoved down your throats. That's just life. Yeah. That happens. Yeah. Like, so let people live, you know? Yeah,
and I feel like straightness is shoved down our throats so much anyway. I'm like, why can't we have a little bit of something else?
A little bit of gay.
A little bit of gay here and there.
But no, also...
Sprinkle a little bit of gay.
Sprinkle a little bit of gay. No, also it's just like, until homophobia is eradicated and I can walk down the road holding my partner's hand and not ever get shit shouted at me, which does happen.
That's crazy.
And homophobia since 2016 has increased by double.
Yeah.
And transphobia is up 3 to 4 times what it was in 2016.
Awful, yeah.
Until that happens, we will continue taking up space. We will continue to have pride, and we will continue to look fucking good while we do it.
Thank you. Do you know Cheza Blonde?
Yeah.
Yeah, so she's my best friend.
Oh, nice.
I was actually just with her, and she and I went to a trans protest with her. And I had my sign and everything outside Downing Street when obviously Rishi Sunak, fuck you Rishi Sunak, when he made those comments about trans women not being allowed into hospitals in the women's ward. And I just like the love and community that I felt there, like the power and everything I felt there. And like I love standing up for her. And she like thanks me a lot. She gets very emotional when she gets drunk. And she's always like, thank you for standing up to it. But it makes me sad that there's not more people in like, you know, my space that like are actually advocating it for it and stuff. And I went to Max Beleg Day, love you Max, through a event for trans pride and things like that. And I love that he gets involved with stuff because there's not enough people that speak out for it.
It's so more important, right now more than ever, because I think there was a like, especially with like over the last, like say between 2016 to 2020, I think kind of drag and queerness was being a lot more celebrated, and like to be an ally was easy. But now it's harder because the pendulum has swung the other way. There's so much moral panics being created about trans people, especially, which is just ridiculous because trans people have always existed, will continue to exist. And just most people just like you. Most people like you just want to fit in and just want to like experience their life.
But it's people like Rishi Sunak creating that like hostility in that. But he does it because he was losing everything else. Let's be honest.
Just like let's throw trans people under a bus.
Let's throw a minority under the bus to try and create some sort of. Do you know what? It's just so. It makes me so fucking.
It's sad, and I can get angry. I think like it's a whole systemic issue that really needs to change. I think like. We've seen it over the years. There's always like a minority group that the media target. Right now it's trans people. Fuck knows who's next, you know? But like we just all need to rally together. So you even being like standing up and like saying it like in a time is harder to do that is amazing. So
no, I will continue to, babes. At what point in your life did you embrace your identity as non-binary?
So I was always like a bit of a gender confused wolf. Do you know what that's from? That's from Shrek, I think. No, I was a gender, like, not gender confused, but I remember like being a kid and wearing the purple velvet dress in nursery and having a rota when all the galleys could wear it because I wanted to wear it all the time. And I had like a gorgeous pearl necklace on, and my mum was fine with it. Like all of my mum's friends were like, all daughters would all dress up. Like I was always playing like Britney Spears. I was always Willow in Buffy. I didn't want to be Willow and Buffy. I wanted to be Buffy, but I was Willow. And I was like playing all of these roles. But then actually when I got to like 6 or 7, that's when I started being like, oh, hang on a minute. This isn't normal, or this isn't what I should be doing. My mum would always say, like, people would say, oh, are you not like, you should be stopping that. And my mum would like, no, I'm going to let them do what they want, you know? And I fucking love my mum for that. Because like she was a real advocate for allowing me to be expressive and flamboyant, and I'd like paint myself in emollient jelly colours once. Like I remember, like, what is it? Emulsion paint. Yeah. Head to toe in that, and come down and was like, Mum, I'm an artwork.
I feel like non-binary is such a new term, like in this, you know, day and age and stuff. Like, what does it mean to you to be non-binary?
I feel like the language definitely evolved. I think the idea of being gender non-conforming or just playing with gender and not identifying with just
it's
like
it's definitely not a new concept, is it? Do you know what I mean?
Like the rigid like idea of what masculine and feminine is. And we'll get into it now. I'll deconstruct it here because I feel like for me, the journey that I've been on with it was always something that was quite innate to me as a kid to dress up in the purple velvet dress in nursery and come downstairs and put on shows to my mum that she didn't want me to do, but I was doing it anyway. It's like Britney Spears. And like painting myself in like emulsion glossy paint and coming down being like, I'm an artwork. And like she was very like supportive of that, which I fucking love her for. But then when I was about 6 or 7, I started understanding that that wasn't what boys were doing, or someone with like the same body parts as me shouldn't be doing that. I should be playing football, when actually no, I'm like pirouetting and dancing. And my mum was very supportive of that, has always done that. But as I got older, I started like rejecting and like seeing, well, music was a big thing for me. It was like seeing people like Bowie, who was obviously such a like a, and like was so celebrated for being like gender non-conforming and different and androgynous, and like people like Prince and even Madonna, you know, like how Madonna was a boss bitch feminine and like owning that femininity, but
then she
being
could rock
dominant.
up in a suit as well.
She could rock up in a suit,
Yeah.
but she can also be like, no, I'm going to do it my way, which was a very masculine thing to be, you know?
Yeah.
Because if you're a boss, you're a boss. But if you're a boss and a woman, you're a bitch.
Yes.
So like having
yes.
that is like
so true.
And I think the idea of like the for non-binary for me, when I came to London, I always knew that I was a bit of different. It was just me.
Yeah.
And Pete Burns is a really good example of this.
Yeah.
And I love Pete Burns. And like the way they did not give a fuck about who they were was so incredible. And they weren't harming anyone.
Yeah.
They were just being themselves.
And do you know what?
dressing
Everyone loved them
fabulously.
as well.
Exactly.
Everyone loved them, yeah.
And I think like I started hearing the term non-binary and I was like, okay, that relates to me.
Yeah.
But actually I think like as I've progressed and got a bit older or like a bit more of an understanding, for me, my gender and how I am is just me, and I kind of reject the idea of like the traditional masculine and feminine, and I'm just like, I'm doing it my way. And I think non-binary for me was the rejection of that. But then comes the term evolving and growing, I then felt like it becomes a label in itself.
This is the thing.
The exact label that I was trying to reject in a way.
Yeah.
So I don't even know. I feel like I'm just me and I kind of reject it. But I think the idea of what masculine and feminine is fluid.
100%.
And like when we talk about the binary, we know that there are rigid roles of what it is to be masculine and what it is to be feminine. And it's about fucking that and just doing it your way, you know?
Yeah.
And knowing that I can be feminine, I can do things that are masculine. Like, it's okay to play with
like,
both
honestly,
of that,
I feel
you know?
the same with like sexuality as well, because
Totally.
I came out as pansexual, and I really truly feel like I just connect with like people.
Yeah.
That I never really related with this thing of like liking girls and liking boys. Like, I knew I liked girls from a very young age, but I never really understood this thing of like, why do we have to like put a label on it?
Totally.
Why does like, because I'm like making out with a girl make me gay? Or like, I had a boyfriend and I was like saying that I fancied this guy, and he's like, oh, are you gay? Do you not want to be with me anymore? I was like, no, babe, like I'm in bed with you, obviously I like you, but like,
there's a lot of there's a lot of things. I think this is society.
I'm the same. I'm just me.
Yeah.
I'm just like, someday I wake up and I'm like, girls. Sometimes I like,
Totally.
it is who it is. Do you know what I mean?
Sexuality, gender. I think like gender is something that can be fluid and can be explored and can be questioned and can be deconstructed, and also can benefit most people to like deconstruct that, because when we look at what's happening in like, take this as an example, and I've used it before, but I'll say it now. Domestic violence. When domestic violence happens at home, when a football match happens.
I've seen this.
So when that increases, the violence against women increases due to the football match happening. If they win or lose, which is crazy, it's because of this misplaced emotion, because the first emotion has been allowed to be taught is anger, and not acceptance of like vulnerability or sadness, and that's seen as weaker, because having those emotions is seen as a feminine thing.
But also, living as someone that's not truly you will make you angry and will make you bitter.
Anger is a perfectly valid emotion.
Yeah.
But like, we need to look at why that is the first emotion, and why actually men aren't encouraged to talk about their feelings.
Truly, I think at school they should be encouraged more.
Totally.
Genuinely, I think they should have like
age, I'm sure you were told as well, and I was told like, oh, I shouldn't be wearing the purple velvet dress. I should be playing football because boys are strong and girls do that. And girls, I can't play with the dolls because that's a girl's job. Girls have to look after the dolls because that's what girls do. And it's like that, from that such a rigid idea from a young age, as someone that was a kid questioning it, you feel like a weirdo. You feel like an outsider. You feel like you're not right, or you're wrong. Or you do things to fit in, and then you grow up and like.
And as we were saying, kids are so cruel as well to like other kids as well. So it is so hard when you're like just trying to fit in or try and be, and then somebody says that to you, and it sticks with you. This is the thing. For these poor kids, it really sticks with you, and that's where it like honestly snowballs from.
I just think if we were to like have conversations around gender that wasn't like, oh, I'm not letting my son do that, or I wouldn't like, and it's actually been like,
from a young age as well, it's really important. Like, I know they say about these like drag shows shouldn't be allowed because kids will watch it. Honestly, if more kids actually watched it, like there would be more kids that would be like, oh my god, I think I relate with that.
Yeah.
I think that's me. Do you know what I mean? From a young age, and it would make them probably feel better because they'd understand themselves. Because I think there's so many people that have lived, you know, not being themselves for such a long time, and then, you know, when they're in their 30s or 40s, and then they realize who they truly are. Maybe it would actually encourage younger people to probably make them happier, you know, to realize who they are
Definitely.
from a younger age.
And I think just allowing kids to be kids and express, and it's no harm in allowing that, you know, and like just talking
and having
about
a conversation about gender or sexuality isn't, I mean, it's not really that taboo. Do you know what I mean?
It shouldn't be, and I think it's just about acceptance and like allowing kids to be kids and not put these like archaic old values that actually harm people and are detrimental to people, rather than like encourage people to be themselves and expressive. Because there's like how many people? 7-8 billion people on this planet. Not met them all, but there are. I've heard. But like, if everyone was the same and we just had these two ideals how boring is that? The human experience is far too complex for everything to be just put into these boxes. And I think just live and let live and allow people to be themselves. You know.
Yeah. What would you say to any kids struggling with their own gender identity right now?
I think just be yourself, as hard as that can be, and like don't listen to the kids at school if anyone says anything, and just, you know that you are loved and people are there, and it might not feel like they are now, but they will be eventually, and just got to kind of stick to it, you know. Life could be cruel, life could be hard, but be yourself is the most like punk rock thing you can be. Exactly.
So fucking true. 100%. I really struggled with myself when I was younger, and like knowing who I was and what I was, and I always dressed a bit tacky and stuff, and I was doing fashion, and like now I'm just like, fuck it, I'm gonna be tacky. I don't give a fuck.
We love a bit of trash.
I love it now that this like Brat Summer thing has come out, like with Charlie and stuff, because she's kind of making it okay to be a bit trashy and just like
kind of live for that.
But I mean, like, what even is trashy? I'm like, just dress like how you want to dress, however makes you feel sexy.
Definitely. I mean? No, I feel like that. I feel like you should just be allowed to express.
So you're a self-proclaimed plant-based princess. What is your favorite vegan meal?
Something that isn't cooked by me. A, I hate cooking. B, I'm not very good at it. But what would I say my favourite is? So I used to go to this place called Purezza, which is in Camden, and they do the most banging pizza, because they like a lot of, obviously pizzas are like very dairy heavy, but they would like make all of their nut cheeses, and it's honestly so gorgeous.
Really? Do you know what? There are really good vegan places actually now.
There are.
There's one in LA as well. There's a lot of really good ones in LA, but there's a Mexican restaurant in LA that's vegan, and it's so fucking good.
Oh yeah, love.
So fucking good.
You could be creative with food now. I think with vegan food, you have to be. Like back when I first turned vegan, it was like a piece of shit, really. Like it was awful. Like the cheese was plastic, and like everything was. But I was a lot healthier because you had to cook everything. Yeah. Now you could go on Uber Eats and there's like a whole section. Also,
like I feel like it is so bad for you. Like I'm nothing. Like I'm just like I eat meat, fish, everything. But I just feel like there's so much option, so I eat so much. Like I feel like when you're like plant based, you actually are a lot more considerate with what you put in your body.
I think I was.
Yeah.
I've definitely been less healthy over the years when it's so easy. Because now like fucking KFC and McDonald's have vegan options.
True.
So yeah, when that wasn't a thing, you were forced to like eat stuff. But then if someone's like, I'm gonna get a Mackey's, I'm like, well, I'll have a plant burger then. But then I feel like it sweats out of you. I hate them at plant burgers. I'm not a big fan.
They sweat out of you?
Yeah, you can smell it in your wee.
Oh, God, really?
Yeah, it's gross.
I mean, to be fair, I mean, I don't even want to know what they would put in that, because I don't want to know what they put in normal, like
eyes,
ears,
lips, and bum holes. Literally.
some toenails.
Yeah, basically.
I read that you know how to tattoo. Is that true?
No.
No? Is that your bad?
I can tattoo you, but I don't know if I can.
Go, babes. Yeah.
I've
got enough shit ones, so.
Stick and poke. Is it?
My producer's fucked up. No.
No, I love that. No, I can't. Oh, and I can. I think everyone can.
Babe, I can't. I tried to give myself. I've got a tattoo on my foot, and it's so fucking bad. And I got it from my friend who died. Sorry to him, because honestly, it's the shittest tattoo ever. It's not a homage. It's not a good homage to him.
Well, no, I can't. But like, we can give it a go if you want. I can't do it.
No, do you want? Should we get? Has anyone got a tattoo gun? We've got a tattoo gun. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Well, moving on from that then, since that's bullshit.
I could. Have you got a YouTube
now
video?
You need to learn to. Now you need to learn to.
I reckon I could have you to get me a YouTube tutorial. By the end of this podcast, I will have learned how to tattoo.
Right, we'll move on then. Are you in a relationship at the moment?
I am in a relationship. It's been almost 2 years.
hate that for you.
Yeah.
I hate happy people.
Well, it's been up and down,
Yeah.
but like I feel like we love each other, and you have to work at it.
Yeah.
And I think that's just also just like I said earlier on when I was saying that stuff's not linear. Like our relationships had its ups and downs, but ultimately we learned we do love each other. We want to make this work, and you have to put the effort in.
So true.
You know, got to keep like sex life good.
Yeah.
You got to like be doing like date nights.
Yeah.
You got to be putting the time in because he's very supportive of what I do and he comes to everything. But like it's also just finding that balance of like not always feeling knackered and taking things out on him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
I just
But also like giving 80 when your partner can only give 20, and like giving, if they can't give that much that day, then you give it more. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's always about like finding that balance with your
of it,
partner.
for
Yeah.
sure. And I think we're with each other all the time, and we just have a good. Like he's a silly twat, and I love him.
Silly goose.
Silly goose.
When did you guys meet, and how did you guys meet?
We met at a party, and we our friends of friends knew each other, but I didn't know him. And then when we met, and it was kind of just like. We're like quite a lesbian relationship at the beginning, and like we moved straight in. With
Oh,
each
you did.
other. We were very
You
fast.
had the U-Haul there in the morning.
We were like married the next day. No, we moved quite quickly, but it's been amazing. I love him. His name's Musi.
Musi?
Yeah, Musi.
Where's he from?
He's German.
German.
Yeah, but he's mixed. He's mixed, but he was born in Germany.
How did you realise that you had feelings for him?
Well, we had sex quite quickly.
Very lesbian of you.
Very lesbian. We had sex quite quickly, and I think it just progressed. We liked each other's company.
Yeah.
And he's got the most gorgeous blue eyes.
Oh, yeah, he's very handsome, I will say.
He is very handsome.
Good for you, good for you.
Thank
Do you have any icks for him, though?
Any icks for him? No.
Do you have any icks for each other or no?
No, I don't think so.
Really?
No, I don't think so.
Honestly, like with my ex, I feel like there's so many icks with a partner that I'm just like, but you kind of look past them when you do love them. Do you know what I mean?
Maybe I'm like I've got my rose tinted glasses.
Maybe
on,
you do. Yeah.
I don't think so. No, because we just laugh all the time.
What does he do for a living?
He works in business development, and he's studying a master's in business.
Wow.
Yeah.
Smart man. We love
Power
it.
move.
Do you find it difficult dating somebody that's not doing what you're doing?
No,
or
I
do you
love
find it better?
Yeah, and he'd never watched Drag Race.
Really?
Which to me, I'm like, let's get married.
Perfect, yeah.
Because also like I feel like over the years I've gone on dates, and I'm like, do they want to be with me or Bimini?
Yeah.
Or like Tommy, which is my other name, and he loves me for Tommy as well as Bimini.
Love that.
So yeah, it's really lovely, and yeah, he's still not watched Drag Race, so it's good.
Yeah, because sometimes I like it when guys don't like girls, whatever, don't know who I am before I meet them. Because I'm like, it is a weird one. Like if they know and then they've seen stuff about you, and you're like, it's a prejudgment, isn't it? Of
well,
like,
when we
and it's a
start
side
going
of you
out,
as well. It's not actually you.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what I loved was like it was like a because in this industry you don't know who's real and who's not. You don't know who's fake and who's not, and it just felt real, and it always has with him. And I remember like when we first started going out, and like people would come up to me and be like, "Oh my god, I would love a photo," or like I remember he would say to me, it was the nicest thing. He was like, "People come up to you and they share their stories, and like you make them like they share things with you, and you make them feel like a really lovely way." And he was like, "And it's so beautiful to see." And I was like, "That's such a nice way to." Put up, and then we'd argue, and then he'd call me a twat. No, I'm just but no, it was really lovely to have that, you know.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah.
So you've just released some new music.
Yes.
Let's talk about it.
So I am back.
Yes.
Baby, and just dropping music all the time. Because over the last 4 years, I've been in and out of the studio. I've probably got about 400 demos. Like I've made so much music, and there's been a lot of people around me that were telling me I should go in a certain direction, do a certain thing. But I've got an amazing new manager now, Terry. Big up Terry. And we are putting songs out every 6 weeks. When I first worked with Terry, I came over and was like, I've got all of this music. We sat and listened through all of the demos. She like breathed this new life back into what I'd made and felt proud of over the years. And it's such an amazing thing because like it's been up and down with like releasing and stopping and starting, and like I put a song out and then stopped for 3 months. But I'm like focusing on DJing and making music, and I'm loving it. And I feel like I said earlier, like
you have
I'm
to
going
really
back
be
to
in
the
love
clubs.
with it as well. And you have to like, if you don't love it anymore, the thing is with music is if you don't love it anymore, you need to take a time out and like rediscover what your
I think
sound
because
is.
I was making so much music and not getting feedback from like management maybe and like people around, and like I believed in it, and then I would like lost love with it, maybe.
Yeah.
And then I was like, no, I love what I've made, and like, yeah, we're coming like songs every 6 weeks.
What's your next one out?
The next song is called Take It All,
And
it's produced by my friend Absolute, who is an incredible producer, incredible DJ. I've known Absolute for years. Like, when I first moved to London, 2012, I'd go to his gigs. Like, he was DJing then, and to see him like killing it now, he's like absolutely smashing it. And like to work with and like make music with him, it's just so much fun in the studio.
Amazing.
And that's it's the joy of it, you know.
Yeah.
But the next song's called Take It All. And
Take
it's like
It All.
A sexy club.
It sounds like
dance
it. Does it
song.
take?
Yeah.
It all?
Yeah, it's exactly how it goes. It's like, I can take it all, daddy.
Take it all, daddy.
There you go.
Do you use daddy in the bedroom? I love
I
a
have
daddy.
done.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
I love a daddy.
Yeah.
All right, so we're on to my favourite segment of the show, Bedtime Stories. This is basically where people write it in and then we give them advice.
Okay,
Basically.
nice.
And we get some really funny ones, so you will have a laugh about it. I'm about to get married, but my fiancé just dropped a bombshell. He wants to bring his mum on our honeymoon. He said she's never been to Italy and it would be nice if she joins. We went to dinner the other night and without asking me, he asked her if she wanted to join us. He cried of happiness. Oh no, she cried of happiness. How do I even handle this, Amy?
The wedding's not happened yet?
No, I don't think so.
Don't go through with it.
I find mummy's boys so weird because I've dated mummy's boys. Oh, when I'm like, you know, when you're like, just fuck him then.
Yeah.
If you love him that much, fuck him then. Do you know what I mean?
No, I love.
So
Do you know?
bizarre, some of these relationships with like mums and their boys?
The thing with that is, I love my mum so much, and like I would happily have my mum on holiday, but my mum would not want to come on my honeymoon.
Yeah.
You know,
It's weird that she wants
to
go.
come on the honeymoon. Like that's like
you're not marrying him, babe.
You're not marrying him, and also like, did her mum come on her honeymoon?
Yeah.
Like, it's a weird one. I feel like
I'd hit him back with, oh, well, my dad's coming.
Yeah,
No.
yeah, yeah,
My dad's
definitely.
coming, yeah.
My daddy's coming.
Yeah.
No, or just be like, well, if your mum's coming, then pay for an extra week, and then she comes for the week, and then we stay up for another
That's
week.
actually a nice little middle
like,
ground, I think.
Extend the honeymoon.
Extend the honeymoon.
Because it's nice to have the family time, and I understand that, but it shouldn't
I'd
have
laugh
dropped
in
the
his face
bombshell.
personally. If a man said to me, I'm bringing my mum, I'd be like, no, you're not, babes.
Yeah.
Okay, my best friend is pregnant and wants to name her baby after her ex-boyfriend. She dated him for 3 years before her current husband. She says it's a cute name, but I don't think her husband knows about the history of the name. Should I talk her out of it?
I mean, that's a weird one, isn't it?
It's weird, yeah. I think she still likes the ex.
Well, I think so.
Yeah.
Because if she's like wanting to name it, like she's got a new husband, like it's a bit of a. Maybe it's his. No.
Yeah. Imagine.
Can you imagine?
Plot twist.
No, that's a strange one. Unless it's a really good name.
I'd say, babe, I'm not sure if this is the best idea.
Yeah.
I think this might go down badly one day. Because what if she's, as well, has she not spoken about her ex to her current partner? Do you know what I mean?
And said his name.
And said
or
his
her
name.
name,
Yeah,
or their
'cause you
name,
do
or
bring up
whatever.
exes. Do you know what I mean? When you, that is a bizarre
That is a weird one. I would say, what about Tucker?
Give us some other ones that are better.
Fucker.
Yeah, fucker. Tucker, fucker.
Tucker, fucker.
All right, next one. My boyfriend is obsessed with role-playing in the bedroom as a vampire. At first, it was kind of hot, but now he's gone full Twilight on me. Fake fangs, hissing, and asking me to offer him my neck. He is even suggesting bonking in a coffin. Have you ever had any crazy roleplay experiences, Sophie?
Is that Mussy? my boyfriend.
Yeah, literally.
Have I had weird ones?
Yeah.
I thought we were asking about the vampire, because I'm like, the vampires one's quite cool. I mean, I've played around. I get into it.
I've never really done any roleplay.
Have you not?
No.
I've done it. I think like always a safe word in case, and like sometimes people laugh. Like a lot of the times I've not done it so seriously.
I'd be embarrassed to do it seriously.
We have fun with it, but I think like if it's making you feel uncomfortable and like you don't want to have sex in the coffin, which is totally valid and fair, by the way.
Yeah. It would be a bit
just-
hard as well, I feel. Like it's quite a closed space.
Yeah, it depends on the size, I guess.
Yeah.
But like I guess it's some conversation that you need to have and just be like, put some more boundaries in place.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe cut it on the hissing.
Yeah.
You know?
Stop drawing blood.
Yeah. We can't keep bleeding, do you know what I mean? All right, next one. My girlfriend is convinced that her dog is the reincarnation of her grandmother. See, this is always a really weird one. She treats the dog with a kind of reverence that's starting to freak me out. She set up a little altar for it on special days and sometimes talks to it in her grandmother's voice. She genuinely believes this and gets upset when I question it. How do I even begin to respond? Holly.
I think if she's finding comfort and peace in this and it's not harming, then I think just let her be.
Honestly, yeah, let her live.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I feel bad for her, bless her. Like if she believes that's her grandmother, it's like, have you seen that Friends episode where Phoebe thinks that the cat grandma's in the cat?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's literally that, and I think it's not hurting anyone.
No, if it's not hurting them, I think like
it could well be her grandma as well. You don't know
we all
that.
try to find comfort in things, and I think especially if someone has passed on, like if something's making them feel better about it, I think just let it be.
100%. Well, that is that, and that concludes the podcast.
Yay!
Thank you so much, Bimini, for coming on the show. I've had the most amazing time with you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and listen for more. And see you next week, guys.
And stream Take It All.
Yeah, stream Take It All, Daddy.